Now, many people, when they are investing in the stock market, one thing that obviously they ask themselves when investing or when buying a stock or when owning a stock is obviously, is this a good stock to buy? Well, on today's video, ladies and gents, I just want to go some of the most important things that will help you, of course, identify or determine if a stock it is a good stock to buy or to own. Now, before of course we start this video, you already know that this video is just an entertainment video and not a professional financial advice video. I really appreciate if you can just hit that likes button if you do enjoy the content that I'll be giving you about maybe some of the most important things that you need to look into when you are investing into a company. Now, if you are new, please do make sure that you hit that subscribe button, as on this channel we talk everything relating to the stock market. I mean, those of you that have been on the channel for some time, you will know that on this channel we are all about the stock market. We don't discuss any other topic except for the stock market. So if the stock market, or if you're investing in the stock market, then this is the channel that probably I would suggest that you subscribe and you follow, because here I give you the latest developments. I also give you the companies that I personally invest in, and the reason why I continue to invest, or the reason why I continue adding certain stocks to my portfolio. So if stock market is your niche, please do make sure that obviously you hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. So without wasting any more time, as I've said, people always have this thing of asking themselves, how do I know if a stock it's a good stock or not? So before wasting any more time, people always ask themselves as to how do I determine if a stock it's a good stock to own or a good stock to buy or not? Well, one of the most important thing, ladies and gents, that I personally look into obviously is the company's earnings or the company's financials, which obviously tells me how the company is doing financially. This is very important, guys, because obviously when you're investing in the stock market, you don't want to invest in companies whose financials are not good, or whose financials have been declining when comparing to the previous years. You don't want to find yourself investing in companies like that. But obviously when you are investing into the stock market, or when you want to find a stock to buy, then you should definitely make sure that you look into the company's financials and check if their financials are becoming better than the previous years, the previous quarters. That will help you determine if that stock is a good company to buy or not. And by, of course, companies' financials or earnings, the two most important things, I know there are many others, but the two most important things that you need to check is their revenues and their earnings per share, which obviously their revenues is the money which they generated for that specific period, which obviously if it's on a rise, or if it's becoming a much better figure than the figure they reported in the previous quarter, previous years, then it is supposed to be taken as a very good sign to say that that is a company that is worth maybe putting your money in. That is a company that maybe you can go out there and maybe try to allocate funds to buy that stock. And on the other side of the coin, if you find that obviously these companies' revenues or the companies' maybe profits have been declining when comparing to the previous quarters, previous years, then that should definitely be a red flag, or you should definitely go and maybe dig further as to what is causing that company's revenues to decline when comparing to their previous quarters, previous years, which, like I said, is very important. Now, the second thing which I said is important, or the financials, is the earnings per share. Now, the earnings per share, most of you that have been following for some time, you will know that earnings per share measures the profitability of a company. It is very important, guys, that you also monitor the earnings per share of the company you are investing in or planning to invest in, because it tells you how profitable the company is. And sometimes, some of the cases, you find that you are investing in companies that are not profitable yet. So this earnings per share, on that case, you can use it to determine how close is that company going towards profitability. How close is that company close from becoming a profitable company? You can track or use this EPS to track proximity of that company becoming a profitable company. So this is very important, or these two, of course, figures are very important when you want to decide the kind of companies you want to invest in. It is very important, guys. I know there are things like PE ratios that obviously you need to go and also look or have a look at it when comparing to its peers, because it also helps you, ladies and gents, if a company is undervalued or overvalued. It can show you that, because with the PE ratio, you already know that obviously you just look at the figure or look at that ratio and compare it with companies in its industry. Then if it's above or higher than most companies in its industry, then chances are that that company is overvalued, which might not be a good time to buy that company. Whereas if it is below most of the companies in its industry, then that company, chances are very high that it's undervalued, which might mean that it is a good opportunity, a good time for you maybe to go in and buy that company. Yes, I know that there are key terms like that, but personally, to me, one of the most important things that obviously I look at in a company, it can be every quarter, it can be annually, are the earnings, which obviously I have a look at the company's total revenue which they generate and compare it against their previous obviously revenues which they have reported either previous quarters or previous months, and also the earnings per share. And to profitable companies, I check if the profitability is rising or is increasing, whereas to non-profitable companies, I check how close that company it is getting to be a profitable company. So these are some of the most important things that I look into. And then obviously most companies, when they give you this kind of results or this kind of financial results, they will then project what they expect to report or the kind of figures they expect to report in obviously the future. So they will give you that maybe in the next quarter they expect their revenues to increase by so much, or in the next year they expect their revenues to increase by so much, which is also very important, because then it helps you, of course, make a precise decision to say that, oh, this is a company that it is expected or it expects to continue to do well even in the next coming quarters, in the next coming years, which is very important. It will make you make a precise decision when you are trying to find a company to invest in. I know that these things that I'm saying might look difficult, but trust me, this obviously is not a very difficult thing to track. In fact, for the companies or for the kind of companies that you maybe want to invest in, I think locally and internationally, if you can just go to Google and just say for instance, you can just say Sun International locally share price, then you will notice that on Google there is a tab of financials, and when you go and click to that tab and scroll down, you will notice that obviously it gives you their latest financials there, which you can go through those financial of course and analyze and make a precise decision if that company it is a good company to invest in or not. And even in the US companies, it's even much better, because those companies, they give us their earnings each and every quarter, which obviously if you are to go and again, let's say for instance a favorite stock, NEO stock or NEO share price, and go to the financials, so you will notice that obviously it gives you their latest financials as to how did they do, or how did they maybe perform, or what are the kind of revenues they of course reported, and the earnings per share. Very important. That's one thing I like about US companies. Their financials, or when you check their financials on Google, it's just straightforward. They will just give you the total revenues they generated and also the earnings per share. There's no need for you to go and crack down and go and to their website, go to investor relations and check maybe their financials and check the two figures. You can just go and say NEO share price, SoFi share price, Amazon share price, Microsoft share price, and go to financials, and they will sort of like give you the kind of revenue, the kind of EPS they reported in the previous quarters. Then you are able to compare this with the maybe current revenues, EPS, they reported maybe in the current quarter, which maybe you find yourself wanting to maybe buy that company, or asking yourself if that company is a good company to buy or not. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I should just highlight these things, as obviously I've sort of like our time and again I do receive a question as to how do I obviously quickly analyze a company. And personally, to me, this is the quickest way you can use to analyze a company. Otherwise, I know that there are other things, other key terms that you can use to analyze a company, but this, to me, it's a quickest way that maybe you can use to analyze a company. Otherwise, one of the most important things that obviously when you are investing or trying to find a company to invest in is to check the future prospects. What are some of the things that they are planning to do that will definitely increase or boost their revenue in the future? Then if those things, of course, make sense to you, or you believe that they can indeed do well when you analyze whatever they said, then definitely you can also use that as part of the reason to invest into a company. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. And before you, of course, buy a share or a stock, please do make sure that you do your own due diligence, so that at least you can be comfortable when you are investing in the stock market. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.